Hello everyone, I Tripura on behalf of Department of JMC. Today we are here for the podcast in the Department of Archaeology. So first of all we welcome Ma'am HOD and Sir Professor here.
Hi, my name is Jyotshna. I am from Manipur, Meitei, and I am a professor, assistant professor of this department. I hope all of you will come visit our department someday. Thank you.
Yes, myself, Dr. Kumar Saha from Santiniketan. Here I joined as an assistant professor in 2024.
So welcome to our podcast, sir. As we all know about the archaeology subject, so today we are here to know more about the archaeology, about the establishments and all those achievements that we have achieved inside this university and of course in the outer world as well. So ma'am, my first question is how archaeology has set up here. What is archaeology basically about?
Okay. So basic in the most very simplest definition for every public that they should know. It's something that we deal with human past, and our main resources are material culture. Any kind of material remains that has been associated with humans at some point of time or the other. They are somehow they have this capability of narrating history. It's rather we can say that the objects are basically speaking on behalf of the people whom they have been associated with. So when we study artifacts, we get to know about the community, about the culture, all of these all together collectively. We can say how our past environment was, and how our surrounding was. All of these.
So my next question is to sir. So what is the role of archaeology? Actually means how does it impact our society?
Actually, archaeology is one of the very important sources to understand about the ancient Indian past. What are the materials we are getting from the excavated sites or many artifacts or the monuments, coins, inscriptions? These are actually very important sources to understand about the ancient Indian past. Because in long days before, आज से 4,000-5,000 साल पहले, what was our society? To understand about our society, our people, we have to depend on the archaeological sources. That way, without archaeological sources, we cannot understand about the Harappan civilization. We cannot understand about our early past civilization. So archaeology is most important to understand about our past, because we are getting many kind of artifacts, na? And from the artifacts that time, the people they used that artifacts. From that we can understand about their everyday life, because society is not only the caste system, also the everyday life of the people, and from that we can understand that how their culture was during that time. So that is the most important part of that archaeology for our understanding, because in present day we are what we are, हम लोगों का पीछे भी कोई था, दैट इज ऑल्सो मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट. उसको समझने के लिए आर्कियोलॉजी बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है.
So then can you please elaborate how archaeology department has set up in Tripura University? So the aims and objective, what are the aims and objective and challenges that you have faced while setting up this department?
Okay. Yeah, so basically, the department was actually established in 2019, as all of you know. So in that time, there were 4 new departments that were established in this university, and archaeology department was one among them. And I was one of the first faculty who joined as a guest faculty back then. So when I arrived, I would say there was nothing. Everything has to be had to be started from scratch. What I was provided was infrastructure, and there were already students enrolled, and there were already a head in charge who was taking care of the department. Apart from that, there was nothing that could have been done, so we had to start reframing our syllabus, and we had to structure the course and everything. And that's how we had planned even to set up a laboratory particularly themed for archaeology, where where we can do the analysis work, whatever artifactual analysis that you can do regarding maybe soil analysis, or maybe plant botany, zoology, all these different sort of microscopes that you require, those were also planned at that time. So a whole structure of how a department should be, as in basic archaeology department should have, it was planned that time and was actually done there accordingly. But now we are shifted in block 12 here.
How many students were there?
Earlier there were 22 students enrolled when I came, and all of them were very enthusiastic. The best part I think about these students were, they had nothing at that time. They had only one teacher. They had no complaint over it. They did not complain one thing over it on there are no syllables that is made in time, or there were so many things that was to be set up for the first time, and they were very cooperative in that manner, and successfully I think they turned out to be quite successful in their very own field. Some of my students are already teaching in colleges now, in various colleges of Tripura, if not permanent, but at least as guest faculty they're teaching. Some of them are into schools, some of them are preparing for UPSC. So archaeology overall, if you see, I see that there's quite a lot of scope for students, and it's not just for people who want to pursue archaeology as a mainstream, but I think anyone who wants to even study as a social science subject, they're almost more than welcome to come here, learn about this, because we as an archaeology, we use a lot of multidisciplinary approach. So in that process, these kids, they get exposed to many other disciplines and their basics of these disciplines also. So that's also another plus point coming to our department.
Other than teaching, what other sources can we get after completing this course?
So after completion of course, teaching is one profession. But of course, if you see in India, I'll come first towards what's happening outside world. In outside world, we see that, archaeology nowadays has, a firm-based, practices, as in you have companies and startups set up, okay, where you actually establish a company who does, analysis, who are professional archaeologists and who does analysis of, antique pieces, or, any artifacts which are of relevance and which are of cultural importance, and maybe sometimes even private collections. Okay, so that kind of thing is done. Another thing is in UK, if you see, before any kind of construction is done, what you require is you require a proper prior study of the area before you dig out anything, that this area is safe of no material culture and you can go ahead with building. So these are some of the scopes that's happening, outside archaeology, India. Yeah, but apart from these professional academics, there are so many startups also. For example, I have one of my friend. Okay, if you can, maybe you can follow her in Instagram also. It's Kritika. Okay, the name says it. But anyways, her her startup is based on ornaments and jewelries. Okay, but she makes these ornaments and jewelries themed on those ancient motifs, symbols, so that that kind of that she has come across in archaeological field work or anything. For example, a Harappan seal themed ornament, or for example maybe an ancient temple's iconographic idol has been taken as a design, and you put it in some jewelry. So these kind of startups are also arising. And if you see many other fashion designers, like if I am to say, like there are many fashion designers who actually follow ancient patterns, textile patterns from the museum, and they try to revive all those ancient embroidery works, how these fabrics have been made. This is how conservation is also indirectly taking place. So these are so many scopes. There are ample amount of scopes. But apart from that, if even a student wants to pursue UPSC exam, I think that is also it is yeah, if not archaeology is one of the main subject also. I think archaeology as a subject, the courses that we offer it gives you an exposure to all-rounder subjects. For example, we involve economics, basics of economics. We involve basics of at least you make sure that you know some basics of bioanthropology. We make sure that students know some basics about faunal remains, for example, zoology, taphonomy, taxonomy. So all these things, or maybe plants remains, species. We kind of give them a basic of all-rounder things, because it is important that when you're in field, you might encounter anything, and that might be of any relevance to any in any way. So that is why everyone has to know at least some basic knowledge, be it geology, whether you study river system or whether you study soil analysis, all of these formation process. So all these are things which archaeologists practice, but we have borrowed it from so many other disciplines.
So that our
But,
department name is the Archaeology and Ancient Indian Culture. Ancient Indian culture, it's also one of the important part of our historical importance. Because ancient Indian culture, what was their culture? The society, their behavior, their economy, their art and architecture, everything. Whatever ma'am says, na, the ornaments. Nowadays, many people they are using the old materials. Like we are getting Harappan jewelries or ornaments. Nowadays, the peoples they are using. So it's a new message to the students or the peoples, na, that we are still now using, and we are not forgetting about our culture.
overall, there are lots of scopes in archaeology. If we see, you have the conventional way of studying, being into academics and getting into professorship. That is one. The other is you can get into government jobs like surveys, Archaeological Survey of India. That is another one. In India, apart from these government jobs, because not everyone will be able to acquire these jobs, you can become an independent researchers. There are so many different fundings that you get from various other private firms for doing researches. And nowadays, people are slowly realizing the importance of startup culture, and there are many other students who have actually raised for startups, or established a firm that actually kind of looks or takes care of conservation process and everything. So these are some of the various, basically and for example, I'll give you Nokia. Okay, so I think when Nokia that 1100 phone, yeah. So what was happened? What happened was when the company started to make this mobile phone, they wanted a survey. They wanted to basically study the the requirement of the consumers. They wanted, with that approach, that we want to provide such kind of product that a consumer will buy, and we need to know their choices and we need to know their preferences. So a huge amount of ethnography was conducted, and that time also there were few archaeologists and anthropologists who actually took part in those ethnographic surveys to understand actually that what are the requirements. So if you see in Nokia 1100, एक रस्सी आता था ना, the thread that you just put it in it, हाँ, जब तुम टांग देते हो. So that concept has actually arrived from ethnographic studies, demographic studies, and the demand of the people, and also the cultural practices that is happening. Because when you are having a work culture, and ladies not having pocket, or not all men wearing pants, they are mostly in dhotis in at least interior areas. So in that case ऐसे टांग के चलना is something.
During the Vedic, they used that one kind of bags. In that kind of the Brahmanical people they are using na to job करने वाला जो
it also became a trend as well that time during those.
Yeah, and it's convenient also na, because यहीं पे ऐसे निकाल के रख दो, and you go work everywhere and you will not lose it also.
So ma'am, have you ever went to a field work with collaborating with other department as well? Like you have the similar other department as well, like zoology, you have botany, history department.
Yeah.
So have you ever collaborated with them for outer fields?
So as of now, because the university is new, we haven't for this department really collaborated from any of the other departments. But in archaeology in India, the practice is such that we do collaborate with zoologists, we collaborate with physics, we collaborate with chemistry, we collaborate
with the tourism
zoology.
department also.
Yeah, we collaborate with almost all the disciplines
All the
wherever it
different
is
things.
involved.
Yes,
We even
very
collaborate with engineers because
fine arts
engineers
department.
are the ones who actually can, when we tell them our problem, what is the requirement, the technologies that they make is, can be specifically based for, archaeological, retrieving archaeological data.
So, sir, what are the essential needs for the student to take admission in these departments? Means, what can be outcomes? Why should a student choose this department of archaeology?
The students, if the students.
So, what will make them attraction over this department?
Yes. Archaeology because interesting because archaeology is a history, not only the history or the also archaeology is the science. So and also if you can say the language also it is little very important that archaeology in ancient Indian culture we are getting the inscriptions as archaeological sources and also very important that literary sources. We are getting many Pali text, that Brahmanical text, Vedic text, and this will help us to know about our Indian culture, ancient Indian culture. So it is not that only archaeology student or history student will get benefits from any background. Anyone can.
Any person who is a part of this society and who is interested
And in
in
this time-
understanding the past can actually join,
can join.
irrespective of any discipline that they
discipline.
come from, because in the end they will always find something or the other relatable. So I'll tell you a subject, something called as microbiology.
Microbiology.
Right? They, if you see microbiology में जितने भी lipid studies वगैरह होता है, nowadays we are borrowing this sort of concept also when we retrieve data in archaeological site. For example, pot मिला हम लोगों को.
Then, in this coming years, how you see yourself as in which stand or position you want to be in the next coming few years?
For our department.
Yes, ma'am.
Firstly, maybe we require a lot of field work. We, for self development and sound, sound foundation is required. We have just started, building our department. We require a rigorous field work, a previous work study of whatever has been done in Tripura and surrounding areas, not just Tripura. Because, when you define a region, it's not politically defined. Rather, we have to see the historical background and geographical areas.
So, sir, what message you want to give to the youth? Those who want to come to the field in this archaeology?
I think I want to say all the youths they can come and take admission here, and what they can become as an assistant professor through the NET exam, and after that they can go for higher studies. They can get because what is the benefit for the students is most important. What the students will get benefit. So one thing is most important that they will become the assistant professors or they will become the teacher, and the museum, one of the important place they can get the job. So as now India, all over the India, the museums are now still growing, because whenever the archaeological excavation will be there, then we will get many artifacts. Then that we have to keep it, na. So they can work, they can get job in the museum. They will get job in the as a archaeologist superintendent. In every year the post is coming, so they can get the job also. And what I say, and also many places are there.
Yeah.
So I think you can
see,
say that-
I think for students, for youths, archaeology as a subject has a lot to offer. It has a lot to offer, not just in terms of career, but it kind of gives you the ability to think from a very flexible way. The subject in itself is so flexible, where you are quite flexible enough to learn other discipline. I think it teaches you morally also that to have that flexibility inbuilt, and this flexibility is required for, I think, all the youths of today to be flexible enough to work in any harsh terrain. That's quite important as a scope of self building, self enhancement, all of these things.
So it's been a great honor to having you in our podcast, sir. Thank you so much for collaborating with us. Thank you for cooperating. So okay, with this we come to this end of this podcast.